It's Mother's Day weekend, and what a perfect gift than a potted plant for your mother. And joining us today is Dr. John Dole, who's been on the show before, and John's with our horticulture department here at Oklahoma State University. John, welcome again to Oklahoma Gardening. Tell us where we're at.
We're at the Oklahoma State University Teaching Greenhouses.
Teaching Greenhouses,
yes.
And I think people are familiar with that too. But we're going to show you a little bit of different plants today that maybe will trigger some interest in a potted plant or a gift for your mother. And the one that we're standing behind is really a geranium, and some people classify these as herbs, John, but tell us a little bit about what we have here.
This is called the rose geranium. It's one of the scented geraniums. There's a number of geraniums with different fragrances to the foliage, and it's very nice. Very nice.
Right, so really it's grown more for its foliage, and it can be grown indoors for a little bit if they get some direct light on it, I guess, but it's got a real fragrant leaf and makes a great plant outside too. How is that different from the bedding plant geraniums that we're used to this time of year?
They're a different species. These all come from South Africa, and this is the bedding plant geranium, the one that we're more familiar with the bright flower. They have a similar leaf in some ways. Mm-hmm. Similar flower too, but the scented ones don't often flower.
Right. Now, a lot of us probably don't think about using a bedding plant for a gift for our mothers. How would we decorate that or fix it up so it would look good for a gift?
Well, there's a number of ways. You can stick a number of them in a big pot or an urn and make something for the patio. You know, if she likes to spend time outdoors on a patio, a big pot of them would be nice. You could also build her a Mother's Day garden, a little garden, and put some geraniums or other bedding plants in it.
And I know you talked too, just little containers like this, putting bows on them really is a nice accent. Any suggestions for that?
Well, if you get some of the larger bedding plants, like this would look real nice with some bow and ribbon on it, and they can enjoy it indoors and then put it outside.
Just decorate it up a little bit. So really, we're talking about two things here that we grow outside quite a bit that would be an alternative gift for the mothers. Well, here's one in front that's a little unusual. Tell us what we have there, John.
We have a plant called Persian violet, and two different colors here, a pale purple and a white, and this has a mild fragrance to it. Also has really nice glossy leaves and makes a nice plant indoors. If given an east or west window, it will flower for quite a long time.
Now, what about taking this one outside though as a bedding plant?
It generally won't do too well outside.
Okay, and if the stress and as you said inside, it still needs a little bit of light, I guess.
An east or west would do great.
Okay.
It will keep flowering for a long time.
Well, now another one that we have, John, is the Gerbera daisy, and it's a pretty common one that's used outside too. Tell us some ideas about it.
Well, this one, some people may be familiar with it as a cut flower. It makes a nice potted plant indoors if you give it a lot of light. If it doesn't have much light, it won't last too long. Or it can also be grown outside on a patio as a potted plant.
And one thing we might caution, people set these too deep in the soil and get the crown covered up and can cause some problems. But these come in a lot of different colors too. So you can see there's all kinds of ideas for bedding plants, but of course, a lot of times during Mother's Day activities, they might receive a corsage. And John, let's talk about some of the carnations over here, because I don't think a lot of our viewers have really seen how a carnation is grown before it gets to the cut flower stage or even the corsage stage. Tell us about this.
Well, this is a bed of carnations that we're growing in the teaching greenhouse to teach the students how to grow cut flowers. And you can see here we've got the carnations growing up through the mesh. This supports the flowers so that they don't get too wobbly.
Tell us about who's taking care of these, some of your graduate students.
In this case, we have Tiki Bradshirt with us, who's cutting some of the flowers for Mother's Day.
Okay, and what else is Tiki doing? She disbuds them. Tell us a little bit about that as well.
Well, this is called a standard carnation, which has one flower on a stem. To get it that way, all the side buds are removed all the way down the stem to make that one big flower on top.
Okay. Well, John, I think we've given them a lot of great ideas again, and hopefully we'll encourage people to go out and remember their mother. And on behalf of us here at Oklahoma Gardening, we'd like to wish all the moms a happy Mother's Day.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.